Okay, now that I've had some time to clear my head after watching the finale, just got back from a run. Here's my thoughts on it. It was predictable in some ways, but not predictable in others because Ricard's fate. Yeah, I did pretty much see that coming if he didn't win, but you can pretty much blame the advantage that Erica got for that because he pointed out in his exit interview with Dalton Ross that that piece that was on the ground, he picked that up almost immediately, and that he was a little closer to finishing the puzzle than the edit let on, and that 99% of the time, if Erica hadn't gotten that advantage, had it just been, straight up challenge, he would have won it. So there was that little bit of a discrepancy there. He also mentioned in the exit interview that I'm sure, as many of you know, that he was going to try and pull a Jeremy Collins if he got to the final three and then admit that he had a second baby on the way with his husband. But since he knew that he was going, he just decided to put that out there as a last-ditch attempt, but also try to bring in the real emotions that take place during the game, let everyone know that we're all still people and all that jazz. So I did see that coming, and then skipping around a bit, what happened with Deshaun? That wasn't the exact fate that I predicted for him, but because I was thinking that he was going to go in the top four, though I was correct in that the jury didn't view his game as that smooth of a thing. I'll admit, when I made last episode's video, I was kind of unsure, but if you had put the gun to my head and tried to predict one fate, I think I would have chosen that one, so, Right. But Heather, yeah, I thought for sure that she would be in the top three, and instead she goes right before the top three. That was kind of shocking, although Ricard and then I think one other person did mention that they had a lot more respect for Heather's game than Xander's, so maybe there was a tad bit more to her in there. I don't know, I didn't read every bit of everyone's exit interview because there's just too much to read. Like, as I'm sure that I've said before, Rob Sesternino, when he does these last rounds of interviews, there's just too much out there. I can't possibly listen to all of that. Not that it really matters, because I haven't been listening to his stuff this season, and I personally don't think that I'm going to be doing it next season, because I'll tell you right now, given how I'm working 40 hours a week at a grocery store and doing everything I can to stay in shape, even though I'm in pretty good shape for compared to most Americans, sad but true, odds are I'm not going to be able to super analyze this show as much as I used to, and that's a little disappointing. Yeah, but hey, come on, that doesn't mean I still can't enjoy it, right? Right. So, rewinding the tape slightly, what did I think about them putting in one more advantage? Well, that is the theme of this show, though I, of course, as I've said multiple times, I'd rather us go back to a Samoa through Worlds Apart era, where all you've got is just hidden immunity idols as the main twist to the game, though you could introduce the idol nullifier as a level above that, instead of that just being the equivalent of an extra vote or steal the vote thing. Yeah, like, why didn't they make that a permanent thing? That thing has so much potential, and then it's just a one-off, really. Every season that they bring it up, it's just dumb, if you ask me. Right. So it's with the theme of the season. Yes, it changes the course of the game, but there's so many things that change the course of the game, it makes it impossible to predict. Like, for the Final Four here, I'm having a tough time figuring out exactly what would have happened had this been a normal vote. Like, I'm leaning towards Deshaun going, and that Heather would have just been basically ignored by the jury, kind of like Xander was, but who knows? Maybe I would have been proven wrong in that everyone would have turned on Erica. Who knows? But I don't think it's really worth analyzing that much, because obviously if the Final Four heel-making tiebreaker didn't exist, Xander still wins immunity, and of the three, I think Erica's less likely to go than Deshawn. Slightly more likely to go than Heather, but that's really all I need to know, I think. So while I can't predict it that much, I'm honestly not that picky on like Winners at War, although interestingly, Dalton Ross asked a lot more direct questions about the what-ifs for this than he did for Winners at War, if I recall correctly, because all you really need to know is Sarah's perspective on things, because she was the one that could have kept Tony in the game or not kept Tony in the game, and then she was part of the jury, so she could have read what that impact would have been of her versus Tony versus Natalie in the final three. So technically all I really need to do is focus on the interviews with her, if I really want to figure it out. Right. But yeah, that Final Four challenge, it was a nail-biter at the end, because I'm sure that there's several people that watch challenges like those now, and then they get super nervous going, oh, please win, please don't to win, and all that stuff. But I'm like, wait a sec. Why am I getting nervous right now? I don't need to get nervous even the tiniest bit until somebody is taking that final block and moving to put it into place. I don't even have to be nervous until then. It doesn't mean anything. And I was right. Xander was the first person to get to the last block, but Erica and Deshawn, they got close multiple times, seemingly. So yeah, I was nervous for him at the end, but that was it, because I'm really glad that he did make it to the final three, because such a bumbling mess gets all the way to the end, only has his name written down as one tribal council, which I had completely forgotten because it was the most chaotic tribal council this season, so, just, yeah, and to have something to say for himself, to genuinely argue for the million, yeah. Because you could tell that people had genuine questions for him, were willing to listen to him. Yeah, he didn't do that great at answering the questions. I got that as it went along, but would I be better in that situation? I don't think so, because you can't predict what questions are going to be asked. You can't write down what you want to do. Well, you can if you go down towards the waves and find the wet sand, but all you could do is make very general sketches. You can't write out a whole down speech. Like, it's not exactly easy, you know. Like, I'm better at public speaking than most people out there, but I'm not that great at it, honestly. Every time I go up there, I'm nervous. I just do a good job of not showing it. Especially after I'm 20 seconds in. Right. Whew. But yeah, I was glad that he won that challenge because it did seem like a natural way to end his story. Yeah, it's not that great, but as he says, he accomplished all kinds of things that he wanted to in that season, can take the knowledge of how he didn't win to, yeah, I can better myself. There's a whole lot more out there, and right. It's not going to drag him down at all. Yeah, he's a little disappointed, but whatever. That was not an easy final three, okay? Based on the edits, at least. Because I think the jury itself kind of had its mind made up. But based on that edit, yeah, there was nobody off the top of my head that I could say that had no votes. But once Erica got the second vote, I knew that Xander didn't have a vote, which was a tiny bit surprising. Because I had actually been able to predict that Deshawn would not win, but I couldn't figure it out between Erica or Xander. Yeah. But it actually ends up being Erica. And, I'm not bothered by it that much, because I just view this as another curveball in a season of curveballs, really. You would have had to have been with the season to truly understand everything, I think. Because, as I said, I wasn't able to analyze this season as deep as I would have liked. And given how she got all but one vote, that shows that there's something behind her. Really. Yeah, and you know what? We were in the tribal phase, everyone kept saying, Erica this, Erica that, huh? Yeah, the edit didn't do the greatest job of showing it, but I blame that a little bit more on just coincidental circumstances, because Game Changers and Winners at War, I blame bad edits. This is not a bad edit. It was just they couldn't put everything in there. Yes, I've said that for Game Changers and Winners at War. Shut up, phone. Probably just some notice on the Union again. Ugh. But yeah, what's the difference here? So the difference is that she couldn't get a strong foothold in there. That's what I'm really trying to get at. She had potential, but she couldn't use all of it. Okay, it's like one of the winners from Big Brother Canada that I've talked about. I'm not going to say which winner it is, but if you've watched all my Big Brother Canada videos, you know which one I'm talking about. Couldn't show all of the potential. One aspect outshone the other in this situation. It's tough sometimes. You can say that someone deserves the win, and at the same time that we didn't get to see that much of that. But it's possible. Yeah. It's a little bit like Michelle, I think, because when she was announced to come back for Winners at War, I'm like, I'm not enthusiastic about this, but I don't dislike her, I just wasn't rooting for her. Yeah, I have no real problems against Erica now, but never really rooted for her, that's it. Am I glad that she's the first female winner in a while? Well, yeah. Were there people that were better to win than her? Maybe, if you throw out enough arguments, but I'm not going to be doing that. That's a totally different season, different cast, different layers of advantages, huh? It's too different now. Erica won against these group of players. Let's stop the arguments, if any, okay? Right. So I know that's not exactly the best defense of her, but I have no problem with her, just like I have no real problem with this season as a season. Bit by bit, wasn't fun. If I had binge-watched this, I would have enjoyed it a lot more, I think. It was fun, and it nestles right into the middle of other seasons perfectly. Because as somebody who only does episode-by-episode recaps of this reality show and just binges all other reality shows, you can tell just how much effort it takes in order to do these things, and you have to start looking at things a little bit differently. Because, like, The Amazing Race, how do people manage to do episode-by-episode recaps of that show? Because there's not that much strategic thinking. There is, because they put you in a puzzle and you've got to solve it. Be it the detour, the roadblock, simply getting from point A to point B, because it's not always obvious, even though I've only seen 2 seasons of the show. Right, but still though, how could you get into everyone's minds that much? Well, what do I know? I've already watched its first 2 seasons, and that was years ago, like when I made my review for the first season of the show, which is the only season I reviewed. That was when I was still in high school. Which, come to think of it, no, I saw it a little bit when I was in college. Yeah, so college 2014, yeah, so 7 years now. Interesting. That's going to be a lot of fun when I watch that again, right. Okay, so the only other things I think I can mention are that after show. That's not a great term for it, but what else do they have to work with? Afterthoughts? That's silly. Yeah, after show at least has a ring to it, right? So that's probably what they're going to be doing for the foreseeable future while COVID is still a thing, though I haven't really heard anything about them filming seasons 43 and 44 because, oh, but wait, though, I think they do that in May, so if they did, technically they should already be filmed. Ooh. Okay. Well, maybe I'm getting the dates completely wrong here. Oh, wait, no, what am I saying? Okay, it says I'm shooting. I think you all know what I am realizing, so I'm not going to spell it out. I've got the date on my watch, though, I'll tell you that much. Okay. And then the sneak peek for 42. a little bit overhype of dangerous because the entire game is dangerous for these people's immune systems, okay? I mean, like, we saw what happened to Eric, right? And what happened to everyone at the beginning of Guatemala, although that was the first challenge that they did. They're never going to do anything like that again, I don't think. Right. Right. But I do think it's going to be kind of interesting. And yeah, it's free tribes from the gate again, but as I mentioned, I'm a lot more okay with free tribes out of the gate than starting with 2, upgrading the free, and then most likely going back. Like, I just think that that's a little ridiculous at this point. I seriously wonder, though, if they're going to do the free tribes for the full experience again without any kind of swaps or mix-ups. Well, given how it's 26 days, they're probably going to have to do the all tribes but the winner go to tribal immediately again, but that's not a bad thing because that's the same dynamic on each tribe, just a little sooner. No, because, like, really, it's not that hard to do a mix-up with free tribes in this situation. Just get rid of the 2 people, then have the third person be booted, swap, and then you still have ample ways to get rid of free people. Right. Okay, well, I think that sums it up. Enjoyable season. Sure, it's in the middle of the rankings, I think, but that's not a bad thing, as I've said multiple times. Like, what's wrong with just a season of a show? Well, I mean, like, in many ways, it's... Survivor is a lot like a sitcom, just without the jokes and something actually on the line besides trivial human matters, okay? It's one aspect of real life, okay? Yes, in a sitcom, again, you have it done for the jokes, but do they talk about real issues? Yes. Can you have genuine moments on a sitcom? Yes. I can't really point out any of them except for MASH right now, and arguably The Office, but, you know, we're watching ordinary people. Is real life always going to be, oh my god, amazing? Of course not. Yeah. Later, people.